Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. So it's Bookish avec moi again. I just got back from grocery shopping. I walked home and just want to show you some of the things that I got from my grocery haul. I got a guava, which is I think it looks glorious. This thing, this bad boy is awesome, and I can't wait to devour this one. And I also got some star fruits. Look at this. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's just gorgeous. I can't wait to have this one also. Oh my god. But don't worry, this is not going to be a mukbang video. Rather, this is going to be a bookbang. Anyway, let's start. The week has been a particularly slow week for me in terms of my reading. I DNF'd a couple of books. I finished a couple of books also. So I'm going to start with the books that I DNF first. First of all, after so many months, I actually started this book. I think in September or October or maybe earlier last year. I can't remember. But this book is taking me a long time, and I am only until chapter 9. Out of altogether there are I think 20 something chapter in this book. This is Restoration by Tremain. I don't think that this book is bad. Seriously, I don't think that this is bad. But I just can't find the interest. I just can't retain the interest to continue with this book. Evidently, from the time taken for me to read those 9 chapters, basically this is a historical fiction. It is about this character named Robert Merivale who somehow found favor with the king. So this story takes place in the 17th or 16th century. I can't remember. I think it's the 16th century. Or the 17th. I'm confused. But anyway, this main character, because his father was working under the service of the king before that, after his father dies, he has gains a position in the king's court, but that particular position of his does not last long, and soon he actually finds himself neglected by the king, and it kind of takes him some time to actually realize that. But this book is just kind of entertaining in such a way that the writing is funny at certain places, and the character Merivale is also kind of the kind of person that is a fool, kind of like a naive character who somehow thinks of himself as kind of important, but actually he is not. So that is kind of entertaining to watch as well, and you kind of have this expectation on how he is going to change, whether he is going to gain self-awareness throughout this book. But I did not actually get to that point. I'm not sure if that is what that's going to happen, because I stopped reading it after chapter 9 because I just didn't feel invested. I just didn't feel interested for some reason. Based on the plot, I think this book is going to be something that I am really interested in, but somehow it just didn't work, and I don't know why. So I'm gonna put this book aside. It's going to be a DNF book or later book. I'm not sure, but for the time being, I'm just gonna put it aside and I'm gonna stop reading this one. Maybe later in the future, I don't know. But yeah, not gonna read this one for now. And the second book that I DNF'd is The Flamethrowers by Rachel Kushner. Now this is a book that I'm buddy reading with Ali of Fox Folios, who is a bookstagrammer / YouTube commenter. This book is interesting because when I got into this one, at first my impression of it, my rating would be 4 stars. And then as I read more, that rating dropped to 3 stars, and then 2 stars, and then finally I decided it just didn't work for me. So this book is a coming of age story of sorts. It's about this young woman who is actually unnamed, but she is known as Reno in this book because she comes from Reno, Nevada, and so she comes to New York to become an artist. And it is when she arrives in New York that she meets with this group of people, them being artists of different kinds, and she just got mixed into their activities. And I personally think that that is really interesting because, first of all, New York in the 1970s, the art scene in the 1970s, this story takes place in the 1970s. I do not have much idea in terms of that particular setting. I am really not familiar with what goes on in the New York art scene in the 1970s. So this book is, it is something that is really new for me, which is something that I like. I actually like feeling bewildered by a particular story's setting. I really like reading books that have settings that makes me feel really, like I don't know where I'm at. Like I would feel confused, just like the main character does, and I like how that feels, because it's something new. And Reno, the character, also kind of feels like that, because New York to her does feel kind of different from where she comes from. But the thing is, with this novel, it is injected with so many details, particularly details about the philosophical discussions on politics and arts of that particular time. That one, it makes me feel somewhat alienated. Like I don't understand most of the things that they are saying. I'm not familiar with most of the figures that they are referencing, which honestly it is fine. I am fine with that. But it's not exactly fine when it really disrupts the flow of the novel. And that's what exactly happened to me in this book. I don't see a sense of story. I don't, not necessarily plot, but I don't really see a sense of flow in this particular book. Like, it seems to be just a collection of things randomly thrown in together, collection of random discussions on politics and arts being thrown in together and mixed in one bag. So this is how it feels to me. The character Reno just feels like a bystander who does nothing, really passive. And at the end, I just didn't get any satisfaction from it. And so I have to DNF this one, which is really unfortunate. I had really high hopes for this one. But anyhow, that's what happened. So for the books that I have finished, both of them were on audio. The first one is a YA fiction by Elizabeth Acevedo. The title is With the Fire on High. So this audiobook was narrated by Elizabeth Acevedo herself. And I think that, first of all, I just think that her narration is really powerful. I have read two of her other novels as well, also on audio, Clap When You Land and also The Poet X, which also features her as a narrator. And so I can say that her narration is really nice, really powerful, really fits the story. And so with The Fire on High, it's slightly different because unlike the other two novels, this one is a novel in prose. It's a traditional novel, unlike the other two, which are novels in verses. So this book is about this young girl, a teenager, who faces challenge in her life, and that is she has a young baby that she has to she has a baby that she has to take care of while having to go to school. So she has to juggle these two things together, and at the same time she also has to kind of like juggle the perception of people on her, on who she is, the fact that she, being a young woman, being a teenager, and already having a daughter to take care of, and all of these kinds of external pressure being put on her. So this girl Imani, aside from having these kinds of issues in her life, she has a particular interest, or rather a very strong passion towards cooking. And so this novel also explores how she navigates that, her effort in order to reach that particular dream, and what are the hindrances, the obstacles that she has to go through in order to go and pursue this particular dream of hers. This novel is really light, and it is something that made me feel really relaxed. Again, like the other two novels by Acevedo, it feels like one of those novels that makes you feel refreshed, and just overall relaxes you. It's like a light TV movie on a Sunday morning. So I like this one. And another thing that I find is that I think this novel is kind of novel that would potentially make me feel nostalgic in many years to come, because it has this kind of really strong, youthful, innocent appeal to it. It's not particularly like just G-rated, this novel. There are some sex, so it's quite mature also, but it has that I would say simplicity to it that makes you feel light, and I kind of appreciate that. So another novel that I finished was If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha. So this one was also something I read on audio. This book is narrated by Frances Cha herself, Soojin Kim, Ruthie and Miles, and Jeena Yi. So this book is narrated by 4 different narrators. This is a story about 4 women in contemporary Korean society, and it details the kinds of struggles that these women face in that particular society only due to the fact that they are women. And these young women are very different from one another. They came from somewhat different backgrounds, but they all kind of face some sort of struggles, problems, simply because they are women. And we have these characters: Ara, who is a mute hairstylist, who is also somewhat violent. We have this character called Curie, who is a room salon girl, and who has to kind of on a regular basis kind of refine her face with plastic surgery. And we also have this woman named Wona, who is a woman trying to be pregnant, but at the same time figuring out how to do that, considering that her financial situation is not very good. And lastly, we also have Miho, who is an orphan with an art degree, who studied before that in New York, and just kind of figure things out back in her own country in South Korea. So before I got into this novel, I thought that it was going to be kind of like a fluff light piece. I thought that it was going to talk heavily about plastic surgery and things like K-pop obsessions, which in a way it does talk about those things, but it is not fluff. Like, it has more depth than that, and the things that it talks about is beyond K-pop obsession, and also beyond the concept of South Korean obsession with plastic surgery. And I ended up liking this book so much. I find that the narrations are so each of the voices are so unique, and they are really pleasant to listen to. I think that the performances are awesome, and overall I think that it also addresses the issues that women face in the modern Korean society in such a way that is very somewhat compassionate, but also quite honest and quite raw as well. And last month I read Kim Jiyoung, born 1982. So reading this book, it feels like a very nice continuation to that novel. It is very different in terms of its form. This book is very much character driven, and the characters are very different. They are very specific with their own unique personalities, whereas Kim Jiyoung is kind of like a novel that sorry. Whereas Kim Jiyoung is kind of like a novel that where the main character is kind of symbolically a stand-in for Korean women in general. But this book, it feels like it kind of expands on the idea that Kim Jiyoung, born 1982, brings to the table. And so I thought that was really, really, really nice. So on to the books that I'm reading right now. I am currently reading a few books. But like I said earlier, my reading week has been really slow. First of all, I am reading Elena Ferrante's The Story of the Lost Child. This is the 4th book in the Neapolitan novels, and I'm reading this together with Kirsten of Kirsten0929, who is a bookstagrammer and also YouTube commenter. And I'm not going to talk a lot about this book because we just finished our 3rd section. But this book being the 4th book in the series, the last book in the series, I think that, it's just kind of interesting that, this story is coming to an end. Like, this story in this whole series coming to an end, and this book is coming to an end. So there's that feeling of something is going to finish, something is going to end. I'm not sure if sad is the right way to say it, but yeah, we are approaching the conclusion of this novel, the conclusion of this entire series, and I can't wait to see how this whole story of these 2 girls and later 2 women in Naples, Italy is going to end. And I think I mentioned some details about the Elena Ferrante's Neapolitan novel story in many videos in the past. I'm not going to talk more about that one in this video right here. I'm also reading, but only a little bit, Nguyễn Phan Mai's The Mountain Sing. Now, last week I said that this book just really, it rubbed me the wrong way when it comes to the writing. But I think that this week I feel a little bit more forgiving. But then again, I only read like a few pages, so I can't say much. I mean, maybe it's because of my mood also, so I feel a little bit more accepting. But who knows? Yeah, I'm really excited to see how I personally would react in the future for this book. I am also reading this one. I started like a while ago and then I stopped for a bit. An Invisible Sign of My Own by Aimee Bender. So this book is kind of interesting so far, but there's something that feels really weird about this book. So basically, what I have seen right now is the main character, whose name is Monogray. She is kind of trying to deal with something by using mathematics. She has obsession with mathematics. She's 19 years old. And in the beginning of this book, I think somewhere in the 2nd chapter, she already works as a teacher in an elementary school, which is weird because she does not have any training, she does not have any qualification as a teacher, but then she got accepted to become a teacher. So I suppose, that part is really weird for me. I'm not sure if that is going to affect how I feel about this book later if I continue, but I'm gonna continue first for now. And last but not least, I'm also reading Alice Smith's Spring. This is something that I am reading, part of the seasonal quartet group read organized by Sarah of Half Cut of Hearts. But I am a bit behind schedule when it comes to this one, so I'm not gonna talk more about this one for now. I'm gonna save my comments for later videos. Yeah, that's it. So I guess those are the things that are happening with my reading week lately. It has been slow, and it's fine. And I'm really excited to see how the final week of February is going to be for me. I actually had some plans for the things that I want to read in February, but obviously I am behind schedule. So, but then again, that's normal. I'm also reading a few books for the Booker Prize fiction category. I'm not gonna tell you which books those are. I already received 4 books, physical books, but I already have like the ebooks for all 6 books. So I already started with 2 of the books, not finished them yet. But yeah, no further comments on that. So I'm gonna end this video here because I want to eat my guava and star fruits, and I'll see you again in a different video. So until then, take care, thanks for watching, and bye.